We're nearly there. I've told this story so many times and I did not remember that it's in the book. And I'm very happy that it's just 2 days before I'm going right back into it. I've changed so much since, it's ridiculous. You know, when I wrote this, I think I was just understanding that stories like this came out of a breakdown, just emotional, mental breakdown. And I did not want to admit to it, or I just didn't have the awareness of it, that I was a very high-functioning broken person. I was a high-functioning addict, a really high-functioning, chronically anxious person. And I only stopped when my body gave in. It's like, yeah, we're not doing this anymore. And then my 18-month vacation later, we'll get to that. Today I reframed how things are gonna go from now on, and I'm much happier with that than with anything before. Alright, so today we're looking at desire. The reversal of desire shows itself as feeling defeated in the face of repetition. 16 hours later, we're still on set. I leave the house when it's dark. I get home when it's dark. Spend a day in a darkened studio shooting a commercial that's gonna be alive for 3 months until the new model comes out. I don't contribute anything creative to the finished product. I don't even remember when was the last time that I created something. Work, shower, sleep, work, eating my emotions, drinking away my boredom. I nick some cardboard from our department just to keep my frustrated fingers busy. An interesting little structure starts to take shape in my hands. I cannot unsee it. Now I'm just gonna go with it. I randomly origamied a coffin. I did. People are looking at me with their eyebrows stuck to their foreheads. And I just really need to change jobs. I was standing there, I'm like, if this is how life is gonna go, just why? And for me, desire has a lot to do with future projection. If I'm a big picture person, I like having a sense of safety for long term. But that's not how I lived, especially in the last 2.5 years, 3 years. I stopped counting how many times I moved, sometimes countries, and I just never could feel that I can plan ahead. It was just living it day by day, trying to make it to the next day. And slowly it completely eroded my desire to look forward to something, to aspire to something. The feedback, I love you too. Your honesty and vulnerability is phenomenal. I love you so much. So I just didn't feel like I'm looking forward to anything anymore. It's just, everything is just meh. And today, when I was walking home from the beach, as you can see, I'm listening to story structure again, because I'm writing again, and it puts me back into a creative mood again. And today it just sank in that when the story itself starts, any story that we've learned from fiction, the story itself starts when your hero, your supposed main character, is finally given up their reluctance to embark on the journey, to answer the call. The call has been there. The future has been pulling you forward. And we, collectively on this planet, have been turned backwards in time to an Atlantean period. And it's by design. But it emotionally also puts us in a situation when we're not looking forward to a frequency accretion anymore. We're not marching into our own futures, but we're looking at our past. We're dealing with our karmic imprints. We're purging our memories that might not even be ours, but we just pick them up along the way. And if I future projected my past and present, I'm like, I don't want to live into that future. The fuck am I gonna do? Just nothing. I was left without any desire to do anything. Just like it's nothing worldly spoke to me. I did not see any meaning, any value in anything, because big picture person, I cannot take it with me when I transition. I cannot take these things, thoughts, feelings to the next state. Back then, I did not know that for you to transition from one state of existence to the next, there's a pathway. And when we're moving forwards, when we are evolving into a being, into a time space, then we are accreting frequencies and we're going through forward motion in time. We're growing into the future. We're technically becoming less and less of source energy because we're becoming more and more specified, more and more individualistic. And then at the very edge of the outer domains, there's a turnaround point. And you turn yourself not back in time, but back towards yourself. So the same way that your forward path was leading you to the outer edges of creation, now you're turning backwards and gathering the matching component frequencies, spirit frequencies, so that the whole and complete self of you can go home. And as you're walking back your steps, as you're going through the same morphogenetic templates that you arrived through into this reality, you're becoming more and more of yourself because you are gathering more and more of your memories, capacities, talents, self, being, emotions, consciousness, everything. And for you to be able to go back the same way you came, you have to be able to expand in frequency capacity. Now, how this current body form looks like, if you look at it from a spherical, whole and complete identity perspective, morphogenetic perspective, then this biofield is full of energetic debris that is not capable of coherent frequencies anymore. So when it starts to walk back the same way where you came from, the parts of you that are not capable of integrating will disintegrate. It will fragment. That's why the death experience can be a very scary experience if your body is in a state where it cannot hold the frequencies of the next stage where you're going. Because whatever cannot make it, whatever doesn't have the capacity to hold that much frequency, to hold the coherence of that frequency, anything that doesn't make it will vaporize, and it will go back to source in a different way, but it will go back to the same place. It's a bit like running really high voltage frequency through very flimsy wires that, unless your body has the ability to downstep and sequence very high frequencies in the correct sequence, you fry your body. What we think is just lifeless flesh and bone has its own consciousness. The traditional death experience is the disintegration and the fragmentation of your total self-consciousness. And if we finally leave behind the idea that life ends in death, then just have a big picture point of view. What will happen after you transition? Like, what do you actually think is going to happen? What was happening before you were born here? And what is happening after you leave this place? My bad. That was one of the two, but the other one was when I fainted in a supermarket. But my only real panic attack was when I just future projected and imagined that if I was about 16, 17, so I was just learning about reincarnation, that, oh my God, this exists. Like, oh wow, this is not the only life. Wow. And when I future projected that if eternity is a thing, then if this life that I'm living right now in that present moment is going to continue on at infinity, I want out. Now. Now I have a slightly different view on what eternity is and how it works, but now I know that this body, at this stage, at this current stage, this body is not capable of making it to the next step. Biochemically, I cannot produce certain chemicals yet that are needed to safely take this body form out of this three-dimensional container. How we experience this body as being solid and finite, that's just one perception. We are locked into perceiving who we are, but that's just a fraction of the reality of what the body is, what the self is, how life works, where you go when you transition, what do you do with yourself, your consciousness, your body when you transition. And I got up to the point, I'm like, okay, none of the worldly stuff really entertains me anymore. It's like it's very short-lived pleasure. And after a while, I just got burnt out. I'm like, yeah, none of this actually moves me anymore. Then what is the purpose? What is the meaning? What can I still feel desire towards? And I realized that this is the training ground. These are the very last stages of a very, very long story. And the transition that we could possibly make from here, from this last step, is massive compared to what this planet believes is possible. I still have to convince myself each and every day that it is a possibility to turn this matter density into a different body form, into a different form of energy. But heck, I'm gonna try it, because nothing else really excites me anymore at this point. I love people. I love connections. I love relationships. That will never cease to open my heart. But what do I want to invest my time, energy into? How do I want to spend my days? What kind of thoughts do I want to entertain? What kind of feelings do I want to house? Not the chasing of any doing or being or having. It's more like the preparation of what's next. So, in Ultimate Desire, we're gonna start visiting frequencies, states of existence that are the natural next step from here. And it slowly started to train my body. I mean, it's such a simple thing. I've just crammed my mind with so many techniques by now that I just moved from one to another very, very quickly, and I pick and choose whatever speaks to me at the moment, because everybody's individual history and capacity needs a different type of work, a different kind of healing completion. And I feel this also, yeah. And now I've found a movement technique that really helps me with anxiety, physically really helps me with anxiety. As soon as I start the movement, I'm like, oh, okay. And my body literally releases anxiety. So that's what I need right now. And now I'm not in the circumstances when I could sit for 2 hours to journey or to meditate or to visit places. Now I'm at a state right now for the next 3 days when I'm happy that I have 10 minutes when I can do repetitive movements and I'm feeling a little bit better at the end. Like, that's my maximum capacity. But it's going to change, it's going to move. So I just have a cornucopia of techniques, tangible stuff to do, to practice, that will train the body, and not just the physical body, but the emotional and the mental body as well, to be able to house more frequency in a much more harmonic and coherent way. I cannot wait. I'm so excited about this. All right, and if you want to join, again, this early bird group, this is going to be the core team who will be able to hold energy for people who might not have anything to do with the knowledge base, but they are looking for some kind of practical solution for their everyday issues, everyday problems, as I am. Yes. Because a part of me is just really fed up with people disagreeing on small or not so small things. Since we're still living together, if we can do something together that we do agree on, and we come out of it feeling better about ourselves and about each other, then let's just do it. Let's just spend less time hating on each other and just a little bit more time to enjoy what's left of this and prepare for what's coming, because that's gonna be amazing. All right, I love you so much. Today is my last poetry corner. And then after that, I'm gonna go away for a couple of days, and I'm coming back with. I'm just gonna send a few messages to the group so that we're just emotionally on the same page. And then the first time that we meet, just leave it 2 hours, because we're gonna get to know each other a little bit, and we're gonna journey to a place where you just get to leave your shit behind. And after that, it's really up to us what we want to do, how we want to structure it, how we want to go about the next step. I'm planning to have a group get together, a group experience where we just come together regularly and help each other getting through this. Because it's such a massive help when you know that you're not alone with this. We don't have to idolize individuation, that you have to do everything all by yourself and you're nobody if you cannot have your shit together. We are social creatures, and that's being eroded right now, and we need it so much that I would just love to bring it back, just a little seed of it that makes us feel like that even if we don't have people right next to us, or the people around us disagree with us, or we're just in living circumstances that are not good or not okay, there are still people, even if they're scattered around the planet, who can hold things together for each other. So we're not feeling like we're fragmented and pulled into a million pieces, but we find some solid ground that we can start building upon. We can start future planning. We can start feeling like that we have achieved something instead of having to start each and every day all over again. Thank you, Alex. Much love. Looking forward to co-creation. Yes, me too. All right. See you tomorrow.